Yes, I'm doing this video because I'm hearing all these commencement graduation speeches, and I thought kind of they seem rather, I don't know, not realistic about the times that we're living in, or your young people are living in, or going to be living in. And so I thought I would do my own little take on the world at large, and well, in America anyway. Let's say what's going on. What does the country face and Americans facing? And here I have the first image here I have is of peak oil, which is a theory about finding oil and extracting oil, and how you find a lot of oil at the beginning, and then you reach a peak, and then the oil production starts to fall off. And this peak oil theory was first formulated in the 1950s by a guy named Hubert. I think Marion Hubert's called Hubert's Peaks. And it's turned out to be fairly accurate. And you see in these graphs here, like on this graph here, we're the green part, and we peaked, the United States, in the lower 48 states, we peaked our production of oil in 1970. Let's see, what do I have the right? 1970, I don't have, it was in the 70s. And it's been declining ever since. It blipped up a little bit with the finding of oil in Alaska, and then there's some more little oil that we're finding in the Gulf, but it's pretty much been in decline. Oh, and this graph here is oil prices, and this goes back to way the 1800s. There, that the very left of that spike is when they first discovered oil, and then you get the large finds, and the price of oil goes down, and then you see. In the 70s, oil sharply peaks up again. That's when we started to actually run out of oil, and the Middle East was producing most of the oil, and they controlled the price of oil. So you young people are going to face the big problem of energy. What kind of energy are we going to base the economy on? So we've been basing our economy on oil, and that's running out, and we're also running into the problem of global warming with burning carbon-based fuels. So you're going to have to figure out or come up with a basis for the energy of the economy and the society. Now you can try. Now here I put nuclear up here. There's the problem with nuclear is, of course, that it's very dangerous. It's very expensive. You have a hard time getting rid of the waste. So it has those problems. Oh, and of course, Germany just has decided to get rid of their nuclear program entirely, which is really surprising. Now I've got solar. There's solar, and then there's wind, which is not, as they say, energy dense. So you have to put up these large fields of solar panels and huge windmills, and you don't get lots of power. You get some power. You don't get a lot of power. So you've got the twin problems of the global warming and the running out of the oil, and trying to come up with an alternative source of energy. And my guess is that we're going to have to do like the Europeans do, which is to just use less energy, be more conserve. Use less light, we have to drive smaller cars, walk, bicycle, etc., etc. So, and you know what? Global warming might get worse than we expect. You might have real problems with food production. etc. That's your one big problem is energy. We're running out of it. Okay, let me go to big problem number two. Big problem number two is the United States imports a hell of a lot of stuff. Most of it's stuff, let's say, that you got in your house or whatever, we don't make it here. Yeah, we ship it in from China, Korea, Japan, who knows, Indonesia, I don't know. Anywhere where there's cheap labor. We import all this stuff. And what this means is that there are not very many jobs here in the United States. No, hardly any manufacturing jobs. And it also means that our balance of trade gets very messed up. We're very negative in the balance of trade. Okay, so what we've been doing is we've been just buying stuff. There's our balance of trade from 94 to 2005, and you can see it just gets worse and worse. And what that means is that we're not only exporting jobs and we're exporting money, but then we're having to borrow money from China, from from the oil-rich states, from Europe. I don't know. So you got the problem of we're producing less, and then you're competing. Now you're competing with because of globalization. You're competing with a billion Indians and a billion Chinese, and you're competing with little islands off in the Pacific. You're competing with everyone. Okay, I'll get off of globalization. That's a big problem, and the competition and the lowering of wages and all that stuff. It's a big mess. Well, and now I'll go on to big challenge number 3. I didn't want to make this video too long, but our screwed up financial system, totally screwed up. Let's say Wall Street, they screwed up, and they continue to screw up, and they've got a casino that they're running. And you got money flying every which way, and you got incompetent, greedy, unethical people doing a lot of junk on Wall Street. Okay, so we've had this humongous bubble and huge amount of building and speculation, and it's crashed. Sort of the worst crash or the worst economic recession since the Great Depression. And we still haven't solved the major problems. We've got banks that are way too big. We've got people speculating. We haven't sent anybody to jail. So that's your problem that you're going to be facing is the Wall Street casino rip-off palace. Oh, big problem number, what am I on? Big, huge problem number 4 is the national debt, which is up to now $14 trillion, over $14 trillion, and I calculated that out. That means that each American owes in national debt now, owes $50,000 in national debt. So that's everyone, men, women, children, kids, babies, old people. We all owe that amount of money. And that means going to mean higher taxes, I would assume, to retire that debt somehow. Now, the debt doesn't look so bad in that previous clip as a percentage of GDP. But in nominal terms like this, it looks really bad. Okay, so the national debt is a large problem that we're going to be facing, which means I think our standard of living is going to go down, and then taxes are going to have to you're going to have to raise taxes and cut spending, and none of that is going to be difficult both ways. And then finally, I have something for you people to think about is what I call the plutocracy. I keep calling it the plutocracy, or the humongous amounts of wealth that are accumulating in a very, very small portion of the population in the United States. And there's that graph I use. So I have here the top 1% of the wealth in the country they own, the richest 1% own 34% of the wealth of the entire country. And that's shocking. And then this is even more shocking. The bottom, the bottom 80%, or the rest of us, which is probably going to be you and me and, most people, the rest of us, we only own, the 80% of us, of the nation, the bottom 80%, own only 15% of the wealth. That is to me, it's almost unimaginable. That's like a banana republic where you got everyone is poor, and then you got a few people controlling the government and controlling that's called a plutocracy. So your generation. See, we had the Vietnam War. Our generation, my generation, we had the Vietnam War to deal with, and that was our big crisis, and Watergate. But yeah, you've got, I think, more serious problems, really. Okay, that's my commencement address.